Just like that.
Like that.
Messenger boy to A&R guy.
I was still a messenger boy / A&R guy for about 6 months.
Right.
And then the messengering went away, and I was full-time A&Ring. And I'm 20 years old. Now being paid to listen to music and give my opinion. So, I mean, I was in heaven, and I'm sitting in my office. They actually gave me an office. It was, Sire Records was 2 brownstones on the Upper West Side that were kind of like mushed together,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
And downstairs in like what was the basement, in the front was my office, okay? It was teeny. And every morning when I went into work, I had to spray down there because the bums would pee in the doorway.
Oh.
And it would kind of seep through.
Right.
So I had to spray a lot.
Oh.
And then I'd go in my office. But I was in heaven. And I just sit in my office and smoke pot all day long.
You were still smoking pot at this point?
I didn't stop until 5 years ago. So
right.
I was smoking pot all day long, listening to music. I was in heaven.
And picking out what you love.
Yeah, and telling people this is good and this sucks and this is good, and you know.
You have a natural gift. I want to talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
Because you have this natural ability. Do you hear things, or when you hear good music, is it a feeling inside of you?
It's just
what
I
is
know.
it?
I just know.
You know. Try to describe that knowing, because let me ask you why, I'm going to tell you why I'm asking you
Okay.
this, because there are so many people out there, and I've been asked before too, how do you know, Monique? How do you have that knowing? How do you get that feeling? How do you just know when you're on track? How do you just know it? How did you just know it?
I just know when I know, okay? One thing, if I had to think about it,
yeah.
pass.
Pass.
It was like, it was either, if you had to think about it, forget it.
Right.
The public isn't going to think about it.
Right. You
So,
can feel it.
Yeah. And it was just my taste. You know, there are a lot of other tastes out there. I mean, I had a kind of specific thing. I was really into like this whole new wavy thing.
Right.
Got into some dance pop stuff.
Like
But
what?
I mean, later, the whole Madonna dance thing.
Yeah, we'll
and
talk
all
about that in a minute. Yeah.
But it was really like, new wave stuff.
Right, right.
Punk rock stuff that I really loved. If you were a band that was, like one of those hair metal bands, you weren't calling me. There were other guys.
Right.
But I had my thing, and I just knew what I knew.
You knew what your flavor was,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's something this is an ability, Michael, that you have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is like a total
Yeah.
gift from God.
Yeah,
like
but
I have this ability to do what it is I do,
Yeah.
and you have this ability to hear and
Yeah.
to feel and to sense and to know what's going to be success and what's in
And
the
I
music
was
industry.
doing it way early, as I
Yeah.
told you, when I was in high school, when the
Right.
kids everybody would come by my house, we'd sit around, we'd play backgammon, smoke pot, and I'd play everybody records, and people would think, what are you listening to this reggae stuff for? And I'd say, guys, trust me on this, because I was pitching them Bob Marley way early, and then boom, Bob Marley,
Wow.
And I remember trying to get my friends into David Bowie and Lou Reed, and they thought I was nuts.
Right.
And then boom, they explode.
Huge.
Yeah.
Lou Reed, boy, I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
Wonder where
he's
he's
doing,
been.
He's doing okay.
He's doing all right.
Yeah,
That's
he's
good to
doing
hear.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
really good to hear.
Yeah.
So let's go. So you were finding, and what other bands? So B-52s, and then what was
B-52s
another
was
one?
the first thing. My first #1 song, I signed this band out of England called M. It was one guy. His name was Robin Scott, but he went by the name of M. And the song was called Pop Music.
I remember pop music.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was my first #1, and it
Wow.
was #1 November of '79. Okay?
Right.
So I had friends of mine who were still in college that didn't know what they wanted to be when they grew up.
Yeah.
And I had a #1 single.
Oh my God! And
Yeah.
you know what? I listened to that song,
Oh, who didn't?
and now
That
I'm
was
sitting here with
huge.
you.
That
This
was
is so
huge.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we sold a couple million of that.
Did you really?
Yeah, that was huge.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So then, I signed a lot of things. I signed a lot of things that didn't happen. I signed a lot of things that did. And
What would be the next,
next big one?
Well, let me ask you something. So you just said, I signed a lot of things that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Did that ever bum you out or get you down, or were you just smoking so much pot you didn't know the difference?
Yeah, I was smoking a lot of pot, and you know that everything you do is not going to be successful. You just have to know that.
Okay, because I have to.
And some of them bum me out more than others.
Okay, how did you deal with the bum out time? How did you know to keep going and that you were the next one might be a good one?
Because you just have to roll with the punches. Because if
Right.
you can't roll with the punches, you can't succeed in the business. Because
Okay.
everything isn't a home run.
Okay, because
it's like baseball players. I just said everything isn't a home run. I've never thought of this analogy. Everything isn't a home run. If you hit 300 in baseball, you're going in the Hall of Fame. that's 3 out of 10 are hits. The other 7 times you're at bat, you strike out or you pop up.
Interesting. Okay.
3 out of 10 you're in the Hall of Fame. So
in one game, you mean? I'm not a baseball fan.
3 out of
so-
10, is probably you get 10 at bats in probably 3 games. But over the course of a season, if you bat 300 over the course of your career, if you're a 300 batter, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Same thing as an A&R guy. If you get 3 out of 10, you're a rock star.
Really?
Yeah. Because in the music business, as a record company, they always say 1 out of 10 bands makes it. So that 1 pays for the other 9. So if you're doing better than that, if your
Right.
batting average is way better than 1 out of 10, you're golden.